everyone, it's Mari Clarke here for episode number 14 of Tried, Trendy, and True. And today my inspiration is rainbows. I'm going to be working with this Simple Stories boho baby collection, including the rainbow stencil. This is a really sweet 6x8 stencil. This is a 3x3 photo of my daughter and her sweet little son, and I'm going to be documenting that photo today using the boho baby collection. Now, I also have a piece of Basil Avalanche cardstock on my desk, and I'm going to stencil some inks using some Gina K inks with this stencil, and I'm going to use kind of a vertical straight orientation here through the center of the layout. I'm going to start off with some faded brick ink and one of the Gina K blending brushes. I'm going to just blend the ink through the stencil here. You can see this is a super easy process to create your own unique paper or details onto your paper. What I love about rainbows is that they never go out of style. They've been popular forever, and I think they always will be. So I think that definitely rainbows are tried, trendy, and true. And I think they fit perfectly with a baby photo in mind for sure. This is Honey Mustard ink from Gina K, and I love how Gina's inks blend so beautifully. They are really, really lovely inks to work with, and they definitely blended so nicely through this boho baby stencil. And you can just see here, I'm working away on creating that vertical line down the center. All I have to do is just shift the stencil down on my layout and just continue the process, and I'll end up with this really cute pattern for my project. I do blend the little clouds as well onto the paper using Gina K Sea Glass ink. Now this is the Hello World paper from the Boho Baby collection. I love how this paper matches up too with the little swaddle that my little grandson has there in the around him in the photo. And so I just cut a strip of that. It's just a little bit less than 3 inches wide, and you can just see how that just goes in between those rainbows I've stenciled and coordinates nicely with the colors of the inks and the photo, of course, as well. Now this star paper is the Dream Big paper from Boho Baby. I cut about a 1/4 of an inch strip, 2 strips of that star paper, and I'm going to adhere that vertically again here to this Hello World paper, and just giving a little bit of contrast on each side of that brown paper in that way. Just kind of adds that little bit of extra detail, and I like how it brings the star motif into the layout as well. I'm going to be using some other stars on the project also. So you can just see I've added a little bit of repositionable adhesive on the back. I'm going to just make sure that that's adhered down. I'll do the same thing with that other strip onto the other side of this vertical paper, to end up with just this really nice piece of paper, pattern paper, that's going to go through the center of the layout. Just get that adhered. Now I've got the other side added there as well. Really like how that looks, and I just do really love the contrast of that navy with that kind of cinnamon colored paper. And I love that the alphabet on that paper also is just really whimsical and sweet for a baby layout. And I'm just taking my scissors and trimming off any excess of that Dream Big paper. Loving these Heidi Swap scissors, by the way. They're so awesome. They're really nice and sharp. So that is going to finish off that piece. Now I just wanted to add a little bit of sewing detail to that as well. So I took it to my sewing machine and just stitched through that. And now I'm just going to go ahead and take my tape runner and adhere this onto my white paper base. If you follow me, you know that I do really love to work on a white cardstock base. I do love some white space on my projects. I just like the light and airy feeling that it adds to a project, and I thought that was a really nice touch for a baby layout as well. But I just love those sweet little rainbows. I think they're just adorable. Now I'm going to mat the photo with a piece of black cardstock. This is some Gina K cardstock. I love Gina's cardstock just because it just is such a really nice weight. I love that she has cardstock that matches all of her inks as well, and just makes things super easy. Now this is the Born to Be Wild paper. I think this is from the 6x8 paper pad. And I'm just going to take my pencil and mark where I want to trim out this paper, and then I will take that just to my trimmer and trim it out where those little pencil lines are, just to create another little mat for the photo. I wanted to bring a little bit more of that blue color into the layout, and so you'll just see a little bit of that popping out around the edges of this mat. I am just using a little bit of foam adhesive to pop this up on that Born to Be Wild paper. And there you can just see that provides just that really nice little bit of extra detail around that black mat. And this photo is ready to adhere onto the layout. I'm going to again just add a little bit of repositionable adhesive and just make sure that this is added to the layout so that it is centered. And I wanted to just make sure that it was centered on that brown paper, both vertically and horizontally as well. So I'm just kind of wiggling it around until I have it in the spot that I want that. And then I'll just press and it will be adhered into that position. Now next I wanted to also add this little boho banner, or I guess bunting, or whatever you want to call it. I think it's meant to look like it's a little pom-pom or bead banner. And I just think that's super cute. Now that is from the Page Pieces kit. That's part of the Boho Baby collection. And actually the sun and the cloud are also from that kit, and all of the other little die cut pieces that I'm adding to the project are from that Page Pieces kit from Simple Stories. I always like to add the page pieces to a collection when I'm purchasing a collection, just because I feel like they have some really great pieces in them and they're always at a really great price point, so I do enjoy those. This sun is just a really sweet little embellishment for that top area. And I'm going to add that little cloud to that area as well. Now I don't want to get too, I don't want this layout to be too busy, and I didn't want to cover up all of my rainbows that I took the time to stencil. So I'm just trying to keep it really simple with the embellishments. And I'm just going to layer that cloud in behind the sun. So you'll just see me adding that in there. And I think that just looks really super cute. I love how the cloud coordinates with the little clouds that I have stenciled on the project as well. So like how that's looking. And I'm also going to use a sweet little pink star as well. I'll just pop that up with a little bit of foam adhesive as well, and just add that over to the side a little bit. I just kind of wanted to bounce some different dimensional pieces down the layout from the top to the bottom, taking your eye from the top left corner there across the photo over to the right side, and then bouncing back down to the lower portion of the project. Here you can just see I'm going to add a smaller star, and this one is going to go over to the left. I love how those little stars have little faces on them too. Super whimsical and sweet. Now I also really love the foam stickers from Simple Stories. I love to add those into a collection as well, and this is from the foam sticker sheets. Of course, this says little one. It adds a really nice perfect title to the bottom of the layout, and it just once again brings your eye from the top of the project all the way down to the bottom, leaving nothing out. So I really love that, and I like how that looks. Now I have typed up on my vintage typewriter my journaling for this project. So I typed that up onto some white cardstock, and then I used my Caterpillar crop to cut the strips. And now I'm just using my small Tim Holtz trimmer to trim off the excess paper here. So I have 3 strips that I'm going to be adding to the project for my journaling today. And you'll see me adding those here in the next frame in the video with a little bit of foam adhesive. So I do have some foam adhesive strips from 3L. And I am going to just go ahead and apply the foam adhesive to the back now that I have a good plan of where I'm going to put those strips. And I will just use my honeybee tweezers here to help me put these into position. I always like to use my tweezers that just allow that little bit more precision when I'm working on an area that's kind of a little bit more fine detail. So I'll just continue to add the rest of that adhesive, that foam adhesive, onto the back of these strips and finish this up. I like giving the sentiments some, or the journaling some dimension on the project as well. I just feel like it just adds that little bit of extra interest in that way. And here you'll just see me going ahead and finishing that up and adding those onto the project. So just some really simple journaling here. Since this little fellow is a rainbow baby, I thought that the rainbows definitely really worked, and the journaling just talks about that as well. So it all kind of works together. And do you know, I think I will always love rainbows. Well, let's face it, rainbows are just beautiful. They're beautiful in nature, and I think that they're just the perfect addition to any type of project, whether it's scrapbooking or card making, art journaling, whatever it is that you're working on. in your artistic endeavors. Just really love rainbows, and I just know that I always will. So I just thought that that fits so perfectly with the Tried, Trendy, and True projects. So here you can just see I'm just finishing this up by adding these on, and that will almost finish up my layout here today. I'm really enjoying how this is all turning out. Now, what I did want to do is make sure that that center strip of journaling is just a little bit longer than the top and bottom one. It just looks a little bit more interesting in that way when you vary the length of your sentiment strips or your journaling strips. I'm getting my card making and my scrapbooking mixed up here. And so I'll just put this last strip in place and we will be good to go with the journaling there. So I like the spacing and the positioning of that. I think that looks nice. It's easy to read, and it's just in a good spot there above the title. So I'm going to just show you how this is looking so far. And I'm thinking about what else at this point I could add that might add some nice detail to the project. So what I decided that I wanted to do here is go ahead and add a little bit more stenciling. So I'm going to grab the stencil and I'm going to grab a little bit of gold shimmery paste that I have in my collection, and I'm going to add that through the stencil here. So I'm going to add 3 little stars, and you could use any medium that you have, Gina K, Glitz Glitter, whatever you have. If there's lunar paste in your stash or whatever you have that you like, that's going to add a little bit of dimension. I chose this product here that I'm using just because it has a little bit of shimmer to it as well, but it wouldn't have to be something shimmery. I just wanted something that would add some dimension, and this is just going to go in 3 little spots. Super easy to do with this stencil, and you'll just see me adding that with a little palette knife here. And I do clean the stencil in between applications here so that it doesn't get my medium all over the place. And in this particular instance, I kind of missed getting the medium all the way down to the bottom of the star, but you'll see how I fix that here. It's super easy to do. So just getting that into that little area there. And you'll just see me doing the peel reveal here. And then I'm just going to take a pokey tool and just pull that little bit of medium, that little bit of product down so that it just finishes off the star. And that is going to finish off my layout. I really like how this turned out. I hope that you did too. And I hope that you are inspired to make some projects with rainbows. Thanks so much for joining me today, friends. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.